Welcome back to another Wednesdays with Walter. And we had all kinds of stuff we wanted to talk about, but first, I guess we might as well get to the striking issue at hand out of Texas. And, they didn't have to die. The kid apparently tried to kill his grandmother beforehand, wrecked his car on the way out with cops in pursuit, allegedly, and then got himself into the school before a Border Patrol agent went in there and was like, yeah, no, guy. Still don't get how people could just walk up in schools. I don't get how people are going after legal gun ownership.
I was watching the news last night at midnight, roughly. May have been late, right? I woke back up. Anyways, they were saying that his mom worked at school. Now I'm going off of, obviously, on the fly notes. This came out last night from one of the press briefings well after it got dark in Texas. Anyways, they said that his mom did work there, and that was the only reason why his access to enter into the school was so easy, because he was known. But that goes to the other point of it. If people know people, you should also know when they're off. I mean, if I'm having a shit day, my close friends and family that I do talk to know.
Yeah.
Just by looking at me.
And everyone's saying, this is like, I don't maybe remember I was arguing with enough people, like, get rid of guns and we get rid of the problem. Like, really? Like, did you see when they did all that over in certain countries overseas? What, people were just running around stabbing everybody. And the one person I told them, please God, look at the homicide stats.
Well, the one country overseas in Europe, I'm not even going to name it. I'm just going to say that one country, they don't have police with guns either. You know what happens when there's a shooting situation? A lot of people die because there's no legal guns.
Yeah, someone tried to make the argument, look how good it's working in Australia. Like, yeah, I remember seeing, armed agent, pointing guns at people for being on an empty beach during COVID, for walking outside their house. Yeah, it's real fun. They're the only armed people. What? No one can do anything. And no one can do anything to force anyone to let them do anything, no matter how ridiculous it got. And by the way, if you get rid of guns altogether, which means people that legally own guns don't have guns, the only people that will have guns are criminals, because criminals
and then you have
are going to do criminal things.
Chicago.
Oh yeah, someone just made that argument right before. I was waiting on you, mister. We have to start no later than 8 o'clock. And I'm sitting here at 8:06 going.
I was arguing with a Keurig. Don't get me started with
Keurig. But yeah, like, they use a gun loophole in Indiana to bring the guns into Chicago. That's how most of that happens. Like, if it's so easy to get a gun in Indiana, then
no.
Why aren't there crazy numbers of shootings every 5 seconds in Indiana like there are in Chicago? Because if you can get a gun that easy, the crime would be that high there too.
Well, that's just it. It's easy to get a gun in Indiana, but
it's a criminal.
There's a lot of guns in Indiana. You screw up there and do the wrong thing, there's a good chance you're dead.
It comes down to criminal people are going to do criminal things, regardless of if you disarm all of us. They're not going to turn their guns in,
illegal or not.
They're going to keep doing things.
Because if that was the case, when they made it illegal for all these drugs, the drugs would stop. No, fentanyl ain't stopping. China's still pumping. Everything's
getting worse. Just because you make it, like, tell legal people that, law-abiding citizens, there's over 400 million firearms in the country that they know of.
Why do you think no countries invade?
Last time I checked, the number of shootings is way under 400 million. Last time I checked, it doesn't even really break. Like, if you take Chicago out of it, it doesn't break 5 figures.
I also think that somebody has to point that out as a legal standpoint. When there's illegal gun ownership, look at us. When do you see countries outside of our islands and outlying state? The continental U.S. does not get invaded on ground for one reason and one reason only. We are the most armed country in the world. We will kill everyone. Like that is a legit factor that every other country in the world gets and understands and takes into consideration, until you have stupid people involved. And I'm going to say it like that because it's not one person or one particular group, stupid people. When you have stupid people involved making decisions, that shows certain signs. They go, wait a minute, decline. Now's the opportunity. It's just a security thing altogether. There's a lot that goes into it and it pisses me off. But back to the school shooting in Texas, none of them kids should have died. And I want to know where the parents are of this kid.
And I want to say another quick to all the celebrities and everyone, they're like hyperventilating and dying because of it. Like, you can stop acting now.
Yeah. The only celebrity I want to hear anything come out of their mouth, there's only one, and he's from that town. That's Matthew McConaughey. And I want to hear what he's got to say. That's the only celebrity.
Yeah, I just, like the head coach of the Warriors, not they're like hyperventilating, can't get the sentence out of his mouth. It's like, nice acting, guy. We're all maybe you and me are just more numb to it. We've seen a thing or two. We know a thing or two. You know what? Dumb thing, but we have a brain to not turn around in the same breath and say we need to get rid of guns altogether and make better legislation. It has nothing to do with that. But you can make all the legislation you want. Crazy people and criminals are going to still do crazy criminal things.
It's not a matter of being hard.
And if Hunter Biden can, illegally go through the background checks and lie and get a firearm, he did it. Anyone can. No one can tell if the person's like on drugs or lying about any of that stuff. That comes down to the asshole.
But yet, doing the computer guy knew. The computer guy knew when he got this.
I know, like that, but that wasn't the same as him getting his firearm illegally because he said he didn't have any drug issues and then dropping it in a garbage can across the street from an elementary school. And thankfully, the Secret Service, so he wasn't even supposed to have a detail of what found the thing for him.
Well, it makes me question, because I don't know about there, but I know like in a couple of states I've dealt with for firearms and outdoors and stuff like that, because I'm an outdoorsman. I like fishing. I like hunting. With that being said,
cripple, shut up.
In Tennessee, Kentucky, and in Michigan, that paperwork's usually filled out at the location where you're going to buy the firearm. That fucktard selling it to you, excuse my language, but
you don't know
that idiot selling it to you should know whether or not you're loaded, one way or the other, with alcohol or drugs.
Yeah,
and if they can't tell, they shouldn't be selling.
Yeah, but look at us back in the Marine Corps. Look at the people that could functionally put down like a fifth during lunch and walk around, and you wouldn't know there was anything fucking wrong with them. And we have seen it, and you know it, and we have all been there. So some of them, it's just no matter what, criminals are going to do criminal things, and disarming everyone isn't. And look where all the major mass shootings like happened. When we had the grocery stores, whatever. Got a lot of people, but nightclubs, you're not supposed to bring weapons into nightclubs, churches, schools, movie theaters. He's not trying to rattle these things off to be a dick, everyone. What mass shootings, they tend to happen. I said tend, not all of them, but they tend to happen places where they have big no firearms allowed on the premises signs, because it's really easy to kill a lot of people when you're crazy, when you know no one's going to be armed to stop you. I mean, here we go. Great example. That church in Texas, I believe it was. Guy walked in there, started shooting. Dude in the back row popped him. Guess what? He didn't shoot anyone.
Game over.
Legal gun ownership and people that are armed. Stop crazy people.
Exactly.
Getting rid of guns will just make it easier for the criminals to be criminals. So it's actually very common sense. If you can use that thing in between your ears, it ain't that hard.
Excuse me for 1 second. I have to answer this.
Yes, gas. God bless you. Yeah, criminals are going to do criminal things regardless. So people stop making the argument that if we get rid of them, like, guess what? Shooting people. Now, illegally owning a firearm is illegal. It's felony. Shooting people, felony. Armed robbery, felony. And guess what? Criminals are still doing all of those things because they don't care about the laws. Which means why would we make it even easier for them to do it by disarming everyone? Especially with the way police. And by the way, also, New York City, pretty sure Austin did it. A lot of cities during all that 2020 George Floyd stuff that got rid of their anti-gun units, and then the leaders of BLM told the new mayor of New York City, Eric Adams, that if he put it back together, they were going to burn the city to the ground. It's a unit to get at least guns, illegal guns, out of the hands of criminals. And if you notice, since they got rid of all of them, shootings have gone up in all these places because there's no one there specifically with one job to get the guns off the streets and out of the hands of criminals. Now, can people get it and then lose their mind? Yeah. But you can't blame it on the gun when the kid tried to kill his grandmother, wrecked his car, run from, and then decided to walk to an elementary school and start shooting. That's what I mean.
You know, I hate to say it, but there's a lot of people that say it. And this morning at like, on it was either Fox News or it was online on YouTube, one of the two maybe.
I don't know. I don't
might even been in my email. Anyways,
I don't watch.
I got a video I watched. I don't remember how I seen it. Of Lieutenant Colonel Alan West.
It's a good dude.
He goes,
good brand.
I don't understand why it's so hard for people to go, wait a minute. We have veterans in this country that don't work anymore. Why aren't we asking them to stand at these schools? I've said that for years. I have said
you said that on here.
I know people who have nothing to do with the military that say the exact same statement.
You've said that on here.
Mm-hmm.
True story, people. I remember it. Or he said it before we started recording, and it's just in my head. But I mean, like most schools, like there's like a lot of schools which I don't like. Like I know if I tried to go back to my high school, I'd have to buzz the buzzer, and I'd have to give them a damn good reason for them to let me in the building.
I have
those things are.
I at least call ahead of time, like, hey, look, dude, I'm coming.
But saying those things are locked. At least my old school. I think I saw someone say that all or most, at least in Maryland, are locked.
Once you got a school I graduated from, they don't even have windows.
So you got to, you can get your way in, but that gives everyone a hell of a warning instead of you just walking into it because no one's going to notice. Everyone will notice that. And remember last year and all that, everyone was freaking out. Why do we have cops in schools? Well, here we go, boys and girls. Well, it makes people feel uncomfortable. You know what makes you feel really uncomfortable? When an armed person that's out of their mind can just walk in and start shooting someone, there's no one with a gun to stop them. And good on, the Border Patrol agent. Yeah, took him out. Someone had to. I had another thought, but I lost it. It was a good one too. It was a really, really good one. But regardless, I mean, I've gone over the homicide stats and everyone's saying, and moron giving his speech, whatever you want to call him. He sounded like he was half dead. I know, because he's probably sleeping. They woke him up and said, no, Joe, what, you got to give a speech. They're my fellow Americans. I'm like, okay, bro. Okay. I was laying in the middle of the road after almost dying. What? I sounded more alive than that. And he's got, it's just, and they always make the dumb thing about assault style weapon. One, there's no such thing as assault style weapon. Two, if you look at homicides, handguns are thousands ahead of rifles. Hell, knees, fists, and elbows. People literally bludgeoning someone to death with their bare hands is way up compared to rifles when it comes to homicides in the country. Like, that's why I kept telling everyone. That's why I kept telling everyone, read the actual
people
stats.
Have guns. It doesn't take a gun to do damage.
It takes.
I can prove that.
It's
Give me 30 seconds. Actually, you know what? I have the paperwork right here in front of me.
And and it's amazing if you just to close it out before we get to the other stuff, but like it's just so, I mean, it's all a sad, it's all tragic in that, but my big thing that I noticed, and I'm sure a lot of people did that have brains and were paying attention back then, way back, but this is the biggest one since Sandy Hook, obviously, in 2012. But do you remember, let's see, and we heard about all the time, gun this, gun that, gun this, gun that. And then suddenly Trump took over and the mainstream media only covered Russia and Ukraine and Russia, Stormy Daniel, like everything. They were all, you never heard about mass shootings. Literally the second Joe gets in there and the people that want to get rid of guns are in charge. There, everyone is doing it. And I say,
because criminals know that they're about to make it 1,000 times easier for them.
No, they're just, because they still happen. The numbers are still there. I mean, they still happen under Trump. A lot of them did. But it's amazing. The media's response is really what I'm getting at. How they just 100. Why? Because these are the people that want to get rid of guns. And suddenly all their lackeys are just shoving it down everyone's throat. Guess what? They were still happening. You never heard word one about pretty much anything for 4 years because the media was worried about other things, and shame on and shit on Joe because there was the nightclub shooting. If I remember correctly. Let's see, but I have it right
What,
here.
the one in Florida?
Hold on, I believe I have it actually right here. I think I'm actually smart this time. The one in Sacramento. Shooter was black. Then a week later, Iowa nightclub, black. The Brooklyn subway shooter, black. Amazing. We didn't hear from Joe about any of them until the grocery store in Buffalo when the shooter was white. And this one was at an elementary school, so they had no choice but to talk about it, because even as big of a scumbag as they've been, if they ignore a shooting in an elementary school, they're wrong. But for them to make the gun jokes and to make all the cracks they were making in it was still disgusting, because but last I saw, 18 children and at least 3 teachers were dead. It's not time to crack jokes or try to throw your agenda out there. It's supposed to be the time to bring everyone together, not just shove your barrel of bullshit down everyone's throat. Because again, if you want the stats, people, you can go on the FBI's thing. No matter what, they have to report them. They're not lying on their website, no matter what anyone tells you. And you could look them up. I could send them to you. More people get bludgeoned to death with hands, knees, fists, and elbows by a very, 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 very large margin compared to rifles. Handguns do all this stuff. You never hear anything about the combat handgun. And guess what? 90+% of those are criminals doing criminal things. Actually, I'd say because suicide's still in there. So that takes a nice chunk of death, by handguns.
Well, it's just it. People look at numbers and they like to take just this number and fill that to everything. Well, no. What's the context behind those numbers? How many of them were suicides? How many of them were domestic disputes? Let's be openly honest about this. How much of it boils down to a person?
Yeah, and I already got into I already had enough of a headache last night in an argument over mental health stuff. Why do you gotta make the jokes about it? Why? It's a real thing. I know enough people that are no longer here. I've run out of fingers to keep counting them. It's not
and it is a people thing. I lost a cousin who had nothing to do with the military ever in his life to suicide, who I talked to literally just the week and a half before that. Nothing wrong with him. Never was like that. And all of a sudden, boom.
And
there's context and there's people problems.
And my last theory on it, even though I said I was done a few seconds ago, because it came back into my head. I mean, look how often these things happened when you and me were at that age. We had what, Columbine? That was the first one.
I think there was 2 by the time I graduated.
I'm saying, like, we had Columbine, and then we had Forever Until another one. It's obviously a very large people problem, and like whatever they're
free. The 2 school shootings we were going to school, and the guy from Texas.
Yeah, but I'm saying
the guy on the base down there.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
When we were in school?
I think that was after, but anyway, I'm just saying Columbine was the one. You never. And it kind of correlates for me with adolescent suicide. How that is astronomically through the roof across the country, mental health issues, and it's amazing how they just keep getting more. And since they really started pushing all this transgender, all that stuff, earlier in sex and school, it's amazing. The more they push all that stuff, the earlier they get to people, the more that rate goes. Like, it keeps climbing. The more they push.
You know what's sad about that?
You can't say there's not 2 and 2 to put together. Just like I saw something that Bill Maher's argument the other day. I never thought I'd be making arguments with Bill Maher, but like, why
he's been sounding a little bit more common sense.
Why is there, either people in like places like Ohio really, really discriminate and hate, transgenders and all them, or California, or there's so many extra in California because they're turning people into that with their education and everything that they're shoving down everyone's throat. I'm pretty sure it's more like that one. The more you shove this stuff down there, the more confused they get, the higher the rate seems to be getting. Suicide lives with that, and shootings are going up, and more hate they push all over. I mean, they've been pushing division for how many years now? Since Obama was in office. I mean, it just keeps going that we are literally the worst thing. They compared us to Nazis. Yeah.
Well, I believe what I'm going to reference to, I believe Bill Clinton was president.
The more hate and division they push, the more these things are happening.
And you probably remember this, when they stopped allowing us to pray. I don't know about if they did across country. I'm pretty sure they did. We were no longer do prayer in school.
Yeah.
Wasn't allowed to do prayer at lunch. Wasn't allowed to do a prayer before any games. Nothing.
Yeah. Well, I know Obama got really big on that one. Just leave him alone. Shut the fuck up. You take all these things out of the way, you have a whole entire generation of psychopaths.
But the fear of God is gone. What people had to fear then? Because now they no longer have a faith in anything. They no longer have hope in anything. They have nothing to believe in. All they know is hate. And our media in today's country and society does not help it any. They just continue to push hate. You know what? Russia's stupid. Leave it alone. Let the freaking Europe countries take care of it. If we have to, send some air to ground missiles, ship to ground missiles. I don't care. Fix it real quick and be done with it. Stop talking about it.
Yeah.
It's time for people to grow up and address the real problems. Our border's an issue. Hence, the dude that's trying to kill, and I'm going to bring this up right now because great topic to bring it up on. But the guy trying to kill Bush, that involves what? That guy was getting ready. He came here legally. He was getting ready to bring all of his help here illegally across the southern border. That's the information they're putting out right now. And I've seen that 3 different ways. So I feel like it's confident enough to say that that must be true if 3 different sources are saying that. Now, there's only 3 been said, but all 3 of them sources have said that particular topic. Yeah. So I'm going to go.
And no one can agree on anything anymore.
So if they're all 3 saying 3 different types of sources are saying the same thing, I have to say it must be somewhat true.
No.
But if that is the case, and the dude was going to bring all of his help illegally across the border because it's easier. I'm just saying, there's a lot we should be thinking about right now at home. Our security of our own borders and our mental health of our own people.
Yeah. Proper policing like we used to get,
Might as well throw the VA in there too, because, well, look at my situation.
Hey, don't worry. They got me too. I wasn't even out of the hospital by the time they sent it to the Department of Treasury. It's like, I just
don't think I can fight. I'm going straight to the courthouse and I'll tell the judge to the face. If you're suing me, drag somebody from the VA in here too, because I'm not the only one going down.
Yeah, they just sent mine straight to collections. Like straight. There's another one for the ear, nose.
Yeah, but at least you can fight something when it's in collections and stuff. I'm getting sued.
Mine should go to. I'm getting.
None of us should go to collections at all, for you or me or any other veteran for that matter. But I just want to throw it out there because it's corrupt.
You're in Michigan. Get out of Michigan. Everything's corrupt in Michigan. From the windows to the walls.
That's not just here. I'm not stupid.
It's a pretty bad place.
No, I'm talking about the VA side of it.
Oh, yeah. Hey, the VA down here just put mine all straight to collections. That's way better than anyone getting sued. And really, that's not even them. That was coming from a different office. The whole system sucks. But yeah, stop blaming it on, like, it's not the gun's fault. It's
a people.
Anyone can get their hand on anything. Actually, let's stop making it easier for criminals to get away with crimes and not even charging certain things, and charge everyone accordingly and throw their ass in jail where they belong.
You know where I come from. If you do something wrong, you get punished, and that's that. You learn from your punishment.
Yeah, you don't learn anything if you get away with everything. Trust me, we met a lot of those in the Marine Corps. Perv, for example. It's true, but anyway, back on to the topic at hand after that. I think we're going to shoot some primary stuff. We're going to hit the baby formula stuff. We're going to hit the gas price gouging stuff. And if you read that 26 pages, if you didn't, don't, because it literally just kept repeating what fuels were. Literally, like the whole time, it just went through saying transportation fuels include. It didn't actually really do anything. Like, it says we could do this to stop people from doing this for this many days. It's like, yeah, what the hell does that actually do to stop them? But gonna hit that. All of our reserve levels, because they're all screwed. The great transition, as he calls it, which is just terrifying. And I think we're going to close it out and hit some embassy stuff, because again, I went over it yesterday, but it's still amazing to me how much money they're putting towards that one embassy in Kyiv compared to, let's say,
why didn't we put this much
stopping and protecting chemical, biological, nuclear, and radiological. Like they're putting more money into stopping, like fixing the embassy, than they are stopping and preventing nuclear and chemical attacks. Which is just.
Or what about containing the one that is right now? Nobody it got talked about when it first happened, and nobody's talked about it since. What about Chernobyl? Has anyone addressed that since that happened? Because when them guys left, why do you think Russia pulled out of there? Because their guys were getting sick and dying. The nuclear effects still, the fallout effects there is still dangerous enough to kill people. Russia pulled out, I guarantee, for that reason from that region, because it was killing their people. Has anyone talked about it since then? Has anyone done anything about it since then? Where's the UAEA in this, huh? Because they're about a joke.
Carry on, keep
Not
going.
UAEA. What is it? No, I'm sorry, I lied. What's that group? The IAEA, the International Atomic Energy Agency.
Oh, they're all idiots.
Where are they at in this? How come they ain't stepped in and said, hey, we got to cordon this off? No one is allowed. They ain't done anything like that, have they? Have they checked the containment that they put in a few years ago to seal it up? No. No one's talked about that.
I don't know. I haven't watched. Carry on.
You're good. I just that bothers me because all this
time.
money gets sunk into this, that, and everything else. And I've been reading that. Oh, $676,000 for continuing payment and funds to keep personnel on the ground for the Marine Corps to help with the Ukraine-Russia situation. Well, first things first, that would cover a regiment for maybe a month. So what all does that money actually intended to be used for? Because if you're not going to put no groups from the Marine Corps on the ground, what's that money for? That's just a bullshit thing. Why is the Department of the State in the US going to get roughly $13 billion out of that $40 billion in their pocket for spending? I don't want the Department of the State from the fucking US controlling that money, because you know what's going to happen? It's not going to go where it should go. I'm sorry. I've lost faith in our Department of State because they are off. I'm just going to leave it like that. It's wrong. The people that they're putting in charge of this, that's why I'm with Rand Paul. There needs to be an inspector general only controlling where the money goes. So then there's an accountability person, and there's also somebody that can put a simple structure across everything. And I hope it happens, but it probably won't, even though they put it in that particular bill to have that. It's even in there. Let's see if they follow through with it. I looked at the revised one that he signed. I read it, and it's in there. There's a lot more money in there that is so questionable, it's not even funny. There's other money in there I absolutely agree with. I said from day one, we should set up $30 billion in ammunition and equipment transfers. That's it. That's all we should be giving them, ammunition and equipment. Everything else is humanitarian aid, on the ground aid. That should be coming from the European countries because, one, they're there, we're not. Their countries are there, we are not. We got stations over there, this, that, but we don't have what we have here, there. I mean, we're better off than a lot of countries when it comes to putting assets other places that's not ours, but still, the fact of the matter is they only should have been giving them ammunition and equipment, artillery, shit like that. That's it. We shouldn't be giving them money for aid. We should not. I'm saying they don't need aid. Red Cross gives them aid, give it to them all day long. And there is a little bit of money in there that actually is allocated for the Red Cross, just not as much as there should be, in my opinion. But they could take a couple billion from the money that they're going to give the Department of the State and give it to the Red Cross. But that's just my personal opinion. Moving on from that state, or that statement, I also want to say that when you have money like that flowing, I can already tell you there's going to be money that's spent that was never accounted for. I can guarantee that. I don't think that any money should be given directly yet. And I'm saying this open-mindedly. I'm all for Ukraine. I think they're nowhere near as corrupt as they were 5 or 8 years ago. But there is still corrupt people involved. The dude that died last week that we talked about, the first elected president, he had his own problems. I'm not denying that. They all have their problems, but they do get better and better as they go. With that being said, I think there has to still be a cautionary, just can't give them money. You can't just do that. You can't give anyone just giving money like that. You did that with $85 billion in equipment in Afghanistan. You just went, here, Taliban. Don't think China doesn't know how our shit works now? We didn't attempt one time to keep Bagram Air Force Base. That was stupid. What happened after Erbil, Iraq? Did we step up and do anything? We're still stationed in Iraq, especially up in the northern part of Iraq. Did we do anything? No. Did we do anything when they were sending drones in from Syria that Iran built? No. I'm sorry, but we should have listened people up, let them know, hey, we're not chicken. Just because our president doesn't necessarily work functionally in his brain doesn't mean we don't know what we're doing. quit it. But that common sense is gone. Sorry, I'm off that soapbox now.
I just have a problem giving money to European Central Command. Like, why the fuck are we giving you money? What? How many European countries there are right there? And you need our money to run your.
If it's coming down to that point, you know what? Here's a simple solution to that too. All that's happening, we're giving money to this group for this security part, this group to this for this security sources of it. We do have a group called the United Nations. Where the hell are they at? Why aren't they the ones in control of everything? When something happens between multiple countries, the UN should take the lead in control of the United group.
That's because we're the ones that fund the UN. One for us, the UN would have shut down a very long time.
Maybe we should shut it down. I'm with Trump. Maybe we should shut it down.
Like, it's doing nothing. Started out as such a good idea during that, and it's turned into, well, a corrupt sandwich of just.
Didn't it come just after the Soviet fall? I feel like it came not long, or just before.
That was during the.
Oh, that's NATO. I'm thinking NATO came before that. Never mind. Disregard.
Yeah.
Carry on.
I think again, whatever. Give them aid. We all know they're going to, but giving money to Central Command and then an inspector general from one, the DOJ gets 4 million. The one from whoever the hell the other one is like the Department of State gets 1 million. IG to keep track of everything. Like, he needs $4 million to keep track of.
What was that one I told you about? There was like $179,000 was going to some dude's spouse. Like, what does that have to do with Ukraine security?
Nothing.
Goodbye, Nick. Gone. Out of here. That has nothing to do with this.
There's so much waste in every bill they do. And again, they wasted 26 pages on that fuel bill, and there was absolutely nothing actually in it that was worth anything. And guess what, everyone? The prices are still going to go up no matter what the hell that bill says.
And speaking
of
that,
to be
the fuel situation, let's be honest about the strategic reserves.
We're getting to it.
Go ahead.
We're getting to it. We got to get through the primaries and all that before we have the big bang at the end when both of our heads explode. Figure to get through the good stuff before our brains, But while we're on Ukraine and spending, before we move on to the formula, why the hell did we give them the $310 million for embassy relocation and rebuilding and security? And granted, they can't rebuild it right now if they wanted to because of the current situation, but they only gave $100 million to go towards, nuclear, the problems and chemical, biological, radiological.
Well, they're already back.
Yeah, 100 million. Yeah, but all hell starts breaking loose again. Like, it's not like they could actually physically start rebuilding it right now.
Well, I mean, right now they're sending troops too. Like, if from what I understood, you're not going to have just MSG. You're going to have a lot more. Which, granted, I think every embassy should have a lot more because look what them guys had to deal with in
Benghazi.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like that, yes, but have given them hundreds of millions for rebuilding. Like, I'm pretty sure right now, the current state of affairs, exactly where you are, it's probably not a good idea to start rebuilding anything right now.
No, especially when Russia has now openly admitted they're fighting us. So you think that'd be smart to open our
Yeah, that's really my only thing on the embassy because
unless you're sending like two teams, unless you're sending like 2 SEAL teams or at least a squad or 2 from an infantry regiment from the Marine Corps or something along those lines, couple of Ranger brigades or something, you're going to be struggling.
It's just.
And QRF needs to become a first and foremost thought now from now on too. I don't know why we've stopped thinking about QRFs.
Because nothing is quick anymore. Nothing is quick from the one running everything on down the board. None of them do anything quick or have the ability to think.
The one running things, I'm glad you said that. Just a side note, something was said about the whole comment he made the other day. And then all of a sudden, Anthony Blinken is just tripping out in his seat and texting people. I'm starting to think I know who's running the show. I'm just throwing that out there. When he starts trembling in his seat and starts texting people.
He was an Obama bot.
I'm just throwing it
That's
out
why
there.
he's there. He was right there with all of them the first time they were there. A lot of the people they have were right there the first time they were there. Well, they just dragged one corrupt, useless administration. Just time. It's what, round 3 fight, But I don't get it. I think it's all just dumb. But now you can get to the primary results, and then we'll move on to the important things like 2 wasted bills for formula, which really accomplished nothing, and the gas one. And yeah.
All right. The results as of 6 o'clock this morning.
Jesus.
For the first one, Alabama governor Kay Ivey took the Republican chair, or took Republican seat. Yolanda Flowers, Malika Sanders, 48, took a runoff. They'll be going at it again for the Democratic seat. Senate, Katie Britt, Mo Brooks, they're going to be doing a runoff for the Republican seat. Will Boyd, he won the Democratic nomination. In House for the 2nd district, a Democrat, Phyllis Harvey Hall, she took that seat, or that nomination, sorry. District 3, Mike Rogers won the nomination for Republican. There was no opposition, Democrat. Dale Strong for District 5, along with Casey Wardinski, is going to be in a runoff for Republican. No Democrat. Moving to Arkansas for governor, Sarah Huckabee Sanders took 83.16 of the 100% of the votes for Republican nomination. Chris Jones, he took the Democratic nomination. He had only 71.69 votes of the Democrat side. In Senate, I want to put a footnote there. These numbers, you have to take into consideration that independents vote both ways, so I don't necessarily always throw them in there.
And in some states, they're not even allowed to vote during primaries. Your vote matters unless you're in certain states during the primaries. Why? Because if you're an independent, your vote actually means nothing because you're not allowed to vote.
Right. Moving to Senate, John Boozman took Republican. Natalie James took Democrat. For the House in District 1, Rick Crawford took Republican. Monte Hodges took Democrat. Moving to Georgia. For governor, Brian Kemp took Republicans. Stacey Abrams had 0 opposition. She took 100% of the Democratic vote.
She's about worthless as like.
Yeah. Only one county didn't vote for her. Just throwing it out there.
She's a terrible human being. But
they have their Secretary of State is up for election this year. Brad Ruffensperger took the Republican nomination.
No.
B. McGuinn took a runoff with D. Dawkins Hagler. For Senate, Herschel Walker took Republican. Raphael Warnock took Democrat.
That guy's worthless.
Yeah. For their House seats, Jeremy Hunt won the nomination for Republican in District 2. Chris West took the nomination for Republican in District 8. No. Oh, I misspoke. Let me back up. I have to correct myself. I said that in the wrong one. Jeremy Hunt and Chris West runoff for District 2. McCormick and Evans are a runoff for District 6 House seat. And then there was no Democrat opposition for 2nd or 6th district. 7th district, no Republican. Lucy McBath took Democrat. District 10, Mike Collins and Vernon Jones will be doing a runoff for the Republican seat. No Democrat. 14th district, Marjorie Taylor Greene took the Republican. No Democrat. Earl Buddy Carter took Republican for District 1. And Wade Herring and Joyce Griggs are probably going to have to do a recount, but some reason I didn't call it yet. And Joyce Griggs at 6 o'clock had a roughly 5,000 vote lead on Wade Herring. So I'm a little confused, but majority of the votes for it. So I'm a little confused at why they didn't call it. Anyways, moving on. Our runoff from Texas back in March. We're already hitting runoffs now.
Oh, so stupid.
All right, runoffs for Texas, starting with AG. Paxton took the Republican. Garza took the Democratic. Michelle Garza, sorry. For House, District 1, Jamar Jefferson. He took the Democratic seat nomination. For District 7, Johnny Teague took Republican, no Democrat. For District 15, there was no Republican. The Democratic was not decided yet. There is no runoff, so we'll see. Because that was the runoff election. So they're going to either call it or recount it. That's still up in the air as of this morning. District 28, Cassie Garcia took the Republican nomination. And the same again for the Democratic nomination in District 28, up in the air still. No runoff again. And then for District 30, Jasmine Crockett took the Democratic nomination. There you go. That's our update.
I miss when we actually knew who won the night of an election. Don't you miss those days? Seems like just yesterday.
I'm with.
It really was not that long ago. Like,
I think it was Newt Gingrich just said it. We need to go back to an election day, not an election month.
Yeah. This is just obnoxious, but there we go. That's all done. Raphael Warnock, Stacey Abrams, you still absolutely suck.
Yeah.
From the bottom of my heart. Look, I didn't pick on all of the Democrats, but those two especially absolutely suck. Like as human beings. And guess what? If Stacey doesn't win, then she's going to go around and say it was stolen from her because she's a black woman and we're all racist. Because that's what she's been doing since the first time she lost. He's telling everyone that's black in the state, telling them that she lost because the whole state is full of racists.
Yeah.
So you can have
such a weird state to live in, but yet since your last election, you bought 2 houses in that state.
Yeah,
Tell me, how is that the case, man?
Yeah, terrible place. And all you people, or anyone like defending her, what do you mean defending her? Like, what? Second, she said this. Oh, that's not what she meant. But there are people jumping right in line to say that's not what she meant. Well, it's exactly that's not what she said. It's like, well,
then tell me why her transcripts from that statement say
they're going. And then you hit play and you're listening to it and you're going, yeah, that's exactly what she said. Yeah. So you guys could try to jump and say, that's what she said. That's verbatim, actually, what she said. And that's not us doing what you did and interpreting things. And yeah, the transcript is real. The video is real. We're not interpreting anything like you did during Orange Man. All the people on the left went straight from the horse's mouth. There's no interpretation. She said it really, really loud in front of the whole world. And this wasn't like a Joe Biden transcript where suddenly half of it just vanishes. Official transcript. Where it says with minimal editing on the bottom of them all now. Yeah, minimal. Then you take every time he says something stupid, you delete it. Yeah, what there shouldn't be any minimal editing. It should be.
Or if they don't delete it, they edit it. That's the exact statement.
With minimal deleting. Sorry, editing. Like you shouldn't delete. Yeah, tell you. Telling me suddenly I'm staring at a blaster and a beer can.
That's creepy.
You're creepy, but yeah, it's so dumb. Like it just comes down to people just actually read and that weren't taught to just interpret everything that people say and actually just took it for what they said. The world would be a much better place and there'd be a lot less vile and idiocy in there because no one would be falling for all the vile idiocy getting turned up to 1 million. Like if I'm not turned up to 1 million in veteran VA hospitals and buildings aren't getting burnt to the ground, then you know what, you guys are all really just idiots because you don't know what it's like to get fucked with on a continuous basis everywhere I go, every time. Hell, I met my 3rd primary care doctor in less than 2.5 years yesterday. 3rd. There you go, world. There's the VA in a nutshell. Well, my 3rd, and guess what? I still had that primary care doctor for a couple months after. Like this is 3rd in like literally 2 years. You wonder why we say we get screwed with.
Yeah,
Every time I go in the building, I have a new primary care.
Literally could do a 2-hour episode on just
Yeah,
the VA.
but we'll move on. I'll be nice. We'll see where the new VA doctor goes. When I say where it goes, I mean how long it takes until she's gone too,
Well, my tra-
and where she goes. But move on to the whole baby formula thing. And they came out with those, two bills, House HR, which is House Resolution for anyone that doesn't know. So now I could just say HR instead of House Resolution every time. It's not the human resources. These are House resolutions. They came out with two of them, which really didn't do. I mean, they did some, but it didn't do a lot when I read through them. There wasn't really a lot of specifics in there was some timetable stuff to where they can make an emergency declaration and do all that. But my big problem is what month are we in? May? Yeah, we're coming up Memorial Day. We're at the end of May. And they've known about it since October. And they're just doing these now when all hell is broken loose. Kind of sounds familiar. Oh, wait. Afghanistan. They knew about that in March or April. Did nothing until it was completely collapsed. The supply chain crisis. I mean, which he used as a distraction from Afghanistan. They said they put a council committee, whatever the hell they put something together for that right away when they got in office, and they didn't do anything until the end of August when Afghanistan was falling apart. The border, they keep saying there's nothing. They keep trying to make worse. Inflation that went from transitory.
Well, now they
good. Shut up. Went from transitory to a good thing to our fault, to the business's fault, to price gouging's fault, to Biden's fault. All these, they see it coming, and yet they just keep doing everything they can to not actually do anything and let everything get worse. And I was just throwing it in there, which is why I cut you off, because we don't need to go on another border tirade.
Well, no, I was going to say Mayorkas told on themselves, so I just want to point that out. They can't run from that one now.
But they still will. They'll get a free pass from the media because, and all of them will be like, "Oh, what is?" They'll just never air it, and no one will know because apparently there's no news outside of. I'm tired of arguing with people that ABC News is non-biased. Like ABC, the whole network isn't biased. Yeah, look how that worked out for Last Man Standing, I believe. Yeah, how did that one work out? The View, CBS News, NBC News, BBC World News, all these places apparently are not biased. Like New York Post, New York Times, Washington Post, like they're not biased. You guys are just
not biased at all.
They're not going to hear about it. But they passed the two things. HR 7790 and 7791. I really didn't see anything exciting in either of them. 7790, or the Infant Formula Supplemental Appropriations Act 2022, passed on the 18th, ending fiscal year September 30th, 2022, obviously. But really the big one is amazing, that lines 5 through 9. Related agencies and the Food and Drug Administration, so the FDA, the Department of Health and Human Services, HHS, Food and Drug Administration, the FDA, and salaries and expenses for around $28 million. $28 million to go to all the people that got us in the situation that we're in the first place. They're the ones that shut down the whole thing. Last I checked.
Yeah.
So
and my thing is,
where's the IG for that? Because I'd love to see where every
there you go. Where's the continuation then?
Because salaries and expenses. It's going towards salary. What part of it is salaries and expenses? What? Pretty sure everyone's still already getting paid. So
yeah, are you adding people? Is there actually somebody right now that's actively looking at that?
That's used towards, and that one's used towards keeping fraudulent products from entering the U.S. While we had all the stuff in the world to tank it all over.
The reason I say that is because if there's not somebody heading it up, we have a problem. Because just last week, first statement he made, we're going to have 70,000 tons. Okay, 70,000 tons of formula coming in. Great, because that's a large number. That would do a lot. Well, come to find out, it was 70,000 pounds, not 70,000.
Well, I mean, he, his, even when it's directly in front of his face, literally directly in front of his face, he still somehow messes it up. No, they shoot really big, and then he corrects himself, and you're going. Like when he said he was going to get what 1 million, home tests for COVID, like 1 million. Like you're rushing. That's your big thing. You got 1 million, but there's only 330 plus million of us in the. Hey, what? Hey, you're going to rush and get 1 million of them for us. Like, yeah, what?
Right?
Yay! So one in every 330 people can go. Every 330 can go get tested. Woo! And again, I think it was a little over 1 million, but it was absolutely nothing.
I think it was 1 point.
Which is pathetic. But yeah, it really didn't do anything either in that. I mean, it was like what that one was 4 pages long or so. I mean, it's just scrolling through is a bunch of just bureaucratic, like we could do this, we could do this. It's like, yeah, but you're not actually telling us how you're actually going to get to the point to get all of telling us what you're going to do in that 45-day period to get us anywhere. It's just we're gonna like look, we did something, which is why people like Drew argue with me. Why do you read them? Why? Because if you read, look, we did this to help everyone. If you read through 90% of them, it's just a bunch of we have the ability to do this for 45, we can extend it for this many days, we can extend it for this many days. You don't actually say anything you're going to do to help anything.
Exactly. And then activating the Defense Production Act does nothing. I'll put that out there. That does nothing. Secondly, you want to do something along those lines and start enacting something, you have a civil air defense group, okay? The largest group, part of that outfit, is Kalitta Airlines. Well, I hate to say it, but I'm pretty confident it's either 36 or 37 commercial cargo planes they have. Why aren't they flying shit? They can fly a lot more than the military can.
No offense to the military. Your planes are,
Theirs are geared towards military.
They can hold a lot of stuff. And granted, if you put stacks of formula on there, yes, that'd be great. But
what he can move in one plane, it probably take 2 or 3 military planes. And I'm not degrading the military.
It's just because their planes, their civilian cargo planes are bigger and meant for carrying stuff like that.
And he is part of the Civil Air Defense Group. So why are we not enacting that?
Because we are a bunch of idiots.
Well, productive problems.
Production
on those problems would be had.
They were spending this much money, and we're not going to tell you how we're actually going to fix anything with that money. Hell, at least with the one for Ukraine, they broke it down. Here's where all this money is. At least they gave us dollar amounts on most of it. There's some of it when it adds up, you're going, okay, where's the rest of it? But at least they put, here's how much is going towards this, so we can do this. Here's how much is going towards this, so we can do this. I give them credit for whatever the hell number that thing was. I could bend over and tell you what number that thing was, but I'm not going to. But it's right there. You can't see my arm anymore, but it's right there. In the binder, at least it told you where it was going. It told you, like this one literally told you nothing, just like 7791. Again, access to Baby Formula Act. I mean, it made it easier for people on WIC to get it, and all of that, I believe. But really, when you read into it, all it says it's an emergency situation, and the secretary can modify or waive any qualified administrative requirements for one or more states during the emergency period and 60 days after the period ends. And by the way, guys, this emergency period is never ending. It's just hello.
I just want to say
we're still under the emergency from 2020 right now.
I just want to say in regards to the formula thing, because I actually have a baby that's going to be born in 2 months. I'm slightly concerned because of the fact I do live in Michigan, and every time I go to the store, less and less is on the shelf every single time.
Dude, I'm here in Jacksonville, military town. I mean, I have to walk by that every time I'm in Publix, because no matter what, either I'm going back to the beer cooler and their bakery and all that is in the back. So, and no offense to everyone, no matter what you say, Publix does make some good pastries, and their bread is actually really pretty good. But you have to walk by, and right there by after you hook a left across the back, dessert, bakery, beer. Then you turn left to go back towards the registers, and the formula's there. And that's a Publix in a military town. And there's normally maybe like for a couple, I mean, I haven't been there a while, but for a while there, I was in there at least 2-3 times a week. And there was maybe one can of formula in their whole entire wall of it at a time.
That's where I'm going with that.
And they have locks, on them in Walmart and stuff. They're still really, really empty. And
in Michigan, the way it's set up is when you have a baby, when you're born, no matter what, everybody who has a baby, they're born, they're automatically eligible for WIC, which is just a supplemental nutrition program here.
Which, yeah, I think that, yeah, that's one of I don't. Yeah, I think that's actually still necessary though, because I remember when Meg was pregnant.
What I was going to say though, in regards to that, because you said something about the access bill, is why don't they change it like this? Open WIC up to all brands. Because there's people in this state that can't afford it and they have to rely on their WIC. That can't get the WIC approved shit because the WIC approved shit is never getting restocked because nobody has it. Well, guess what? That's when WIC needs to go, whoa, wait a minute, we're screwing up here. We have to step back and go, you can't get this. This is hard to get here. And Michigan isn't a little area. People don't give Michigan for the credit of area that they are. You go into UP, it's a way different world up there. It's even harder to get you up there normally.
Yeah, at least, you know, open it up during, at least, because I don't remember, I read it all. I don't remember seeing it in there at all, even that they were going to open up to stuff like that during this emergency situation, as they call it. And guess what? There's no baby formula. I'm not putting air quotes to be a smartass if you're watching, but during the emergency situation that they all but caused, like, why can't they open it up to, like, just change it at least for then? And then, you know, whenever everything's back running, work, but, you know, so more people get access, because I can't say anything bad about WIC. It helped Meg out when she was pregnant with Evie. She got to go to the farmer's market and they all still accepted it, so she could still get fresh fruit and vegetables without anyone. Yeah, like, it used to be something really good. I know it's
going down, but they can come back. They still have a chance to come back.
Yeah, well, I'm not program, like, because it's a very good program. Like, I'm not gonna, you know, the price of certain things, you're like, I get it, but that does help everyone, no matter even before. So, I mean, throwing it purposely in there for this, so it's easier for them to get it over people that don't rate WIC. You know, that kind of hurts my head, but that was barely even in there, like nothing. You know, the one takeaway I got from it, let's see, available for a period of not more than 45 days and to begin on a date to be determined by the secretary. Renewed so long as the secretary provides notice at least 15 days before such renewal. Shall not be available after the date that is 60 days after the supply chain disruption for which such waiver is established ceases to exist. That was the big thing. They're going to add, you know, days to help try to do all these things, but it doesn't tell you how they're actually going to, like,
exactly, because here's the other part of it too, that
get more of anything, and we're begging. European countries are now giving us some, like, yeah.
Well, I was going to say the other side of that too, though, is like, for me, I look at it like this. I live in Michigan where this plant is. Okay. I can tell you right now, they have said this openly, the plant has numerous times. Even if we were to start tomorrow, it's going to take us at best 2 months before we could possibly start putting shit on shelf. I have a problem with it because we're not designing the ingredients and figuring out what ingredients we need to make the formula. We already know this. I have a little problem with the timeline, but I do understand there is a process to starting equipment back up, and it is science. You have to give some time to it because you can't just throw things together. You get a problem. So I get that side of it too. But no one, government or media, talks about the fact that, yeah, everybody's just talking about the fact they're going to open soon, open soon. Great. What about that 2-month period where they're telling you we can't help you still? No one's talking about that. Nobody. Yeah, no government, no news outlets.
They set themselves up perfectly. They put this thing and they're allowed to extend it as long as they want, as long as they do it 15 days before it ends. So they could just keep dragging it out saying, we're helping, we're helping. It's like, but you're not actually telling us anywhere in any of those pages how you're helping.
Because they're not.
So dear Drews of the world, that's why I read it. I read everything. I like to know where my money is being wasted. I like to know what we're trying to win over voters. Well, we're helping you. How?
Right.
Well, because there's some stuff in there, but it really didn't say anything of any value, I guess is the word. It said you could make an emergency situation. Shit, we've been in an emergency situation for forever now. And everything just keeps getting worse, especially in the last couple. Whew. I get it when things were shut down. You know, now you're just like, again, the other thing, last thing, you know, we're gonna talk about there being, you know, the gas and the reserves and all of it. That's just the great transition. That's the one that I'm most happy with. We're going through a great transition. Hopefully when we come out of it, We'll be left
But
relying on
that
fossil fuels.
statement,
We're in a great transition, which means you're saying we're trying to get, like, you pretty much all but admitted that you're trying to get us to transition from fossil fuels.
well,
So
I
you're
mean,
trying
the
to get
two
us to all
statements he
go
made
electric.
about the one statement he made was we're going to start releasing reserve oil from the diesel side of it, which is already way less than what the gas side of it is. So let's talk about that for a second. We're not replenishing it. You're going to start draining that out. That right there, along with the statement of this great transition, if everything goes right, will be better at the end of it.
He wants to bury
You just admitted you're trying to ruin and change everything. Ski nor I in the next decade will be able to afford an electric car. Sorry, I just want to put that out there.
I can't.
It's not happening.
And you know what it takes to power those electric cars? Lots of money. You know what it takes to charge those electric cars? More electricity. You know what we use to fuel power stations?
Oil
and coal and all those things that you say are terrible. That's what we use to power all those, and they don't
They're all
have the
against
range to be
nuclear
worth anything.
energy, which is the cleanest.
Yeah,
I'm confused.
the minor
And
instincts.
I did get some truth. Speaking of this topic, I did get some truth out of consumers' energy. Yeah. You know why they don't have solar systems on their properties and why they don't have them on their buildings? Because they lose money with solar. You know why they don't like people putting in grid-tied battery backup solar systems? Because they lose money. Because that house that has that backup, if they're just a solar system that's grid-tied, they're all for it. But because then they can rob you of money. But if you're a solar system that's grid-tied that has its own battery backup system, you'll never again run off of the grid system. And they only get juice from you if you're fully charged. Consumers don't want that.
Duh.
That's why they don't want battery backup systems.
It's all about the money, 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 money.
Yeah. So for all you green energy groups that are working with all these electricity companies, don't lie no more. You're corrupt. Don't lie.
They're always gonna lie. That's all they know how to do is lie.
You know what? Tesla, make yourself a little cheaper, guaranteed. More people like me will buy it because we don't like the government. We don't like these corrupt businesses. I want consumers to lose money. Please make them cheaper so we can buy them.
Yeah, that'd be great. Again, if they had a bigger range, I mean, like, my problem is
I'm referring to the solar system.
Yeah, I'm saying just in general, like those and the cars, because the cars are still ridiculously expensive too. Like, like make it a little cheaper so we can, and make it so the battery like gets me farther than like halfway home.
Right.
Then I have to stop all night to recharge the damn thing. That's a hotel, and that adds a whole nother couple $100 to the trip, but back and forth because they don't have the 600-mile range that I need. And then I'll be in Whitehaven and I won't have the capability to plug the bastard in anyway. Like
they make a portable charger.
It's non-sustainable. Well, I sure as hell wouldn't be able to do that now. Mom and Dad got a letter, so did Sean and all that they're all but doubling their rates over the summer for their electricity, even though they already bumped them up in January. So their electric bills are all going to like skyrocket and everyone's going to be more screwed. And again, it's part of the great transition.
Everybody gives me shit. I changed my schedules for all my lighting and for all my plants. Every plant I have now has changed all the light schedule, so it does not get used from 2 p.m. to 8 p.m.
It's the great reset. It's a great transition. Let's go with that one. The whole thing, the great transition. Hopefully, when we come out of it, we'll be less. So what you're saying is you're purposely screwing us, which is why the oil reserve is down to its lowest in 35 years. You're trying to release, the diesel side of it, so that's lower. You're saying you're going to put more ethanol out there for everyone to use to put in their gas, which just burns their cars up even more. So then they'll,
won't notice diesel release either. I just want to point that out. We will not notice it.
Ethanol, put that more out there. What that eats your car away even more than so that does more damage to cars. So then you'll have to spend money on that, and they're just doing
that's more inefficient than gasoline.
They're just doing everything in their power right now to just ruin all of it. And they could say they aren't, but what else we're going through a great transition. We're not supposed to be going through any transition.
Keep it up. I'm gonna buy a goat.
Like great transition.
I won't own no more.
Great transition. Shouldn't you be saying we're going through an extremely hard time? And like, oh no, you're going through a great transition. Ergo, you're trying to get us all to electric, which is why we're depleting everything we know and the prices are so high. And if you read HR 7688, being the Consumer Fuel Price Gouging Prevention Act, all 26 pages of it, doesn't really say anything much. And I think the only numbers in there were 1 million and 2 million. And prices are still going up. So they're going to keep going up. Even the government said, everyone's saying they expect it to be over $6 by the time July comes around. Yeah. Or August, like they're expecting it, national average way up. But it protects the consumers from price gouging of consumer fuels and for other purposes. The declaration can only be for 30 days, but can be renewed for just as long. And they named transportation fuels twice because, heaven forbid, they just can't fill space with that. But that includes gasoline, distillate fuels, including heating oil, and biofuel, including ethanol, biomass-based diesel, and distillates and renewable blending components. And then one more time, they went through it again because it was so important for us to know what transportation fuels means: gasoline, distillate fuels, heating oil, jet fuel, aviation, gasoline, biofuel, including ethanol. And it was passed on May 19th, 2022, but it says like nothing. Like, how
so why don't they make it easier for us local guys to make our own homebrewed biodiesel then? Because if we get caught doing that, we go to prison. And we have to pay EPA fines.
You could do cooking oil and turn it into.
That's my point. Why can't we make our own biodiesel without problems?
Because then their pockets don't get as lined.
It's more efficient, more power, it runs better.
Well, we all know the answer to that, but again, I just said the answer to that. It's just they're not doing anything to actually help anything, no matter what. And anything, I said anything a lot, no matter what the hell they do in any of it, doesn't accomplish anything. It's not going to help anybody. It's just lowering all of our demands, and the prices are going to keep going up. Mark our words that this is going to do nothing, and the national average is going to keep exploding. We're going to keep setting new records, and we're going to get
all this release on the oil reserves is going to do damage. Is all it's doing.
Yeah.
It's damage, long-term damage, and they know that. That's why they're doing it.
Yeah, lowest level in 35 years. Oh, yeah, but we're going to do this now too. Oh, we're going to release more ethanol so we could fry more components of your car. So you have to go and buy that new one. So hopefully you're less reliant on fossil fuels. Guess what? I'm the guy that, when the guy that's good at this whole solar thing is going, what? It's not sustainable. We're not going to be able to do it, but stop. I'll take one of those hybrids that's electric, but also runs on gas. Ford, whatever the hell that is.
Yeah, there's a few of them.
That works. That gets us off of the things as much. Like a lot of things you could do to offset a lot of things. We will never be not sufficient on fossil fuels. Well, not needing. Like we're never not going to need fossil fuels. We're never going to be dependent on them.
The cars that are more often sold that are like everyday vehicles, like the Ford Transit Connects, those are going to have a lot of vehicles like that. The common vehicles, those are the ones that you'll see hybrid versions of. In the early 2000s, you've seen a lot of hybrid GM half-ton pickups because that was the most common truck they sold. So that's the one they've made a hybrid. My problem with hybrids is they pose safety risks. And unless GM can show where they've fixed that I know they haven't, those are situations where it makes you step back and go, hold on a minute here.
It's GM.
Your shit used to go up in flames, my friend.
Hey, it's GM. They didn't fix it.
I was trying not to go that way with it, Steve.
Well, it's GM. Let's just be
trying
honest.
to be fair.
I'm being fair. It's GM. They didn't fix it. I mean, just like I only say that because I know how well their trucks break, and I know how many pages of recalls there were on the slow bolts the day they released them to the world. Like how much shit was already wrong with them, that they knew it. They still put it out there for the consumer. Yeah, they didn't fix it. They don't fix things. They just let things suck and then go, oh no, when people start catching on. Like they don't fix anything. Not at all. They never could. It's not in their DNA. They don't know how to fix nothing. Just like the idiots that wrote all of these bills fixed nothing.
Well, here's my thing. Talking about sustainability, and this is kind of going off topic a little bit, but we should probably talk about it because it's been brought up. Doing more research on it, so I'm not going to say a whole lot about it, but I find it funny that sustainably Putin was not able to keep his assassination attempt under wraps. Literally at the beginning of his invasion, somebody tried to kill him from a Chechen family that opposes their government. That's the details that I'm confident in right now. I don't have a lot more, but I just find it funny. For 2 months, he kept that under wraps, and all of a sudden, poof, it comes out. interesting.
There's a reason for it. There's always a
But
reason
like I
for it.
said, I'm trying to still find out how much this has been given by Russia, how much has been given by Ukraine. I'm trying to find more information out. There's a couple details I feel comfortable in, but the rest of them, I don't know yet.
Well, yeah, there's so much stuff everywhere, but there's a reason it got put out now. Like there's always a reason for everything. So why? The big question now is why did it get put out now?
Not 2 months ago.
Yeah, there's a reason for everything. You could probably use it as another escalation thing now. It's like, oh, but look, you know, I mean, there's so many reasons that anything. It's just.
Well, what's he gonna do then? Because that's coming from a Chechen family.
Oh, no,
that's a family that's from the same group of people fighting with him. So I mean,
still though.
I'm just saying it's interesting. There's details there.
Hey, look how it worked out with Hitler. Everyone was trying to kill his ass, left, right, and differently. And you know, no matter who, I mean, he was everyone.
I'm quoting Ice-T, anyone can get got.
Back before he became on Law and Order, and well, he never left. Dun dun. But yeah, lots of idiocy though with all of it. More stuff's coming out. And again, there's so much coming out. You have to know how to like decipher, you know, what's good and what's
and be cautious of what I mean. I'm on like page 10 on Google. I've been researching this stuff because
page 10.
98%. I've just been like, no, I don't even trust looking at that news source. Don't even trust looking at that information source. You know, some of them I've looked at. I'm like, okay, I'm going to take it for face value, but be cautioned because it's this group, but theirs is a little more reliable than theirs. So,
no, I don't blame you. And again, there's just so much out there and so much just biased people pushing their own narrative and claiming to be like they're across the whole world. Like I'm not just saying it's here. There's organizations everywhere putting and so many people get different information than other countries. Like it's just find the thing in the middle of it all somewhere. Read through it all. Find the thing in the middle. Because if you just put it all together, you'll figure it out.
Well, everybody gives me crap, but that's why there's also reasons why I follow certain news channels in South Asia, because I know that if you're looking at multiple news sources, you can find things that are like, oh yeah, no side's gonna say that, but look at there. What do you know? Damn. That's when the truth really comes out.
Yeah. I just don't know why people are so afraid of being informed. It's not that hard.
I'm gonna give a shout out to Master Guns
Fry. Yeah. It's like I told Drew the other day.
Tell me, knowledge is power.
Just like I told Drew the other day, I don't know why you're reading that. Why you read that? What is it? The exact words were what? I get gas, doesn't affect me. Like, well, the prices are going up, and some people live on a fixed income. So yeah, if they say they're fixing a problem, I'd like to see exactly what they're doing to fix said problem. Because I can't just go and buy whatever I want.
Don't they have some family members that are on fixed incomes?
He doesn't. He's just a narcissistic piece of shit. It doesn't affect me. Like you have grandparents and stuff that are on a fixed income.
It affects them, guaranteed.
Retired people are mostly on a fixed income. You're mostly seniors, like people that party all say that we're trying to kill. Yet here they are, price of everything is skyrocketing. They're having a hard time surviving, and somehow they're still saying we're trying to kill them. Like, well, you came out with a bunch of bills, didn't say a bunch of anything, and everything keeps going up. So who's trying to kill who now? Why? Prices weren't like this then. And yes, the whole world has inflation issues. Not only 11 are worse than us, and a lot of them are currently right now in what everyone's calling an active war zone right there in that general, there's a lot in that general vicinity out of those 11. If you actually look at the chart, everyone that says the whole world's going through it, yeah. If you really take those countries out of there, there's single digits that are worse off.
I'll tell you right now.
That aren't at war. Yeah.
Middle of April next year, I'm going to redo this list of countries by GDP. And I assure you, I don't think the top 10 are going to be the same. And we're in the top 10. We're going to get moved. I feel like. I hate to say that.
We're already on our way. It's coming. It's a great. Yeah, we're about to crater. I got one of those feelings. I said it a while ago.
To re-experience the Big Bang Theory.
It's just going to get real ridiculous. I mean, it's already really ridiculous. I mean, it's just going to keep getting worse, and sooner or later, well, bad things happen. And shout out to Chuck Schumer, by the way, when gas was up to a whopping average 260 in the country, and he was at gas stations and like outside of his thing in New York with
Blaming Trump.
all the other Democrats asking why the president isn't doing anything about this, and gas prices up there like $5-6 a gallon right now, and not a word. Thank you for proving all of our points, because it's over twice as bad now, and y'all ain't doing a thing. It has nothing to do with it. It's just you were going after Orange Man Bad, or as Greg Gutfeld used to call him, the Orange Godzilla Hitler. Can't remember the last time I ever heard his voice, but did see Tyrus talk out of nowhere randomly. That was weird, but yeah, it seems like, I mean, this could be an early day. I mean, if this is
also, before I forget, I should have said it earlier than I did. I do want to give some props to that border agent down there.
Yeah.
Barton's boys are coming through. I don't care what anyone said.
Amen to him. Someone had to stop it. You know, it takes armed people that are trained.
And I really do hope, like I said last week, I really hope that families like that one down there, you're seeing thousands come across. Tell the Border Patrol, hey, look, here's the deal. Somebody better fix it, or I'm going to just have a pile every day out there for you to pick up. Figure it out. Because until that happens, our federal government's not going to do anything.
Our federal government won't do anything even then.
Oh, no. If they start having thousands of bodies show up at their fault.
The Fed will just go and throw the people doing, following Texas state law, by the way. Someone stepped, like, if they follow that, they'll find a way. They'll just throw them in jail for it, because that's all the Fed cares about. They're just trying to get as many people as humanly possible across and act like nothing's going on, even though Mayorkas testified and said, months ago that we're perfectly fine, even though we had the leaked audio of him saying that it's non-sustainable and we're all screwed. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I wish I could say that 100% of the 4 border states need to get in an act together, but I can't say that because we all know one of the 3 will never work with the other 3. But it'd be nice to see those other 3 come together and kind of create like their own little outfit and say, look, here's the deal.
Ready to go.
Just nice day. Fly kite. We'll do this. I mean, Texas is already kind of doing it anyways. They have the legal right to do that.
No, they have a right to protect their borders. And well, at least they're doing something, because no one else is going to do anything, because everyone just wants you to keep thinking sunshine and rainbows and unicorns and fairy dust and we're all psychopaths and none of this is real.
False reality is what they want you to believe in.
Oh, yeah. Why do you think Zuckerberg made the metaverse? So we can all live in virtual reality and just pretend nothing sucks, even though everything absolutely sucks.
Did you like that web drawing I sent you?
Oh, yeah.
For Pennsylvania's election stuff? Yeah, that was interesting.
I never want to get into that. That whole thing sucks, but I'm going to leave it at it sucks. Just like everything else we talked about today, but prayers out to all those families because from the shooting, because those things are stupid. They don't need to happen. They shouldn't happen. And thank God for the, Border Patrol agent that, made sure it stopped happening. Because, that many people were already.
I'm not the only one that listens to all scanners. The Border Patrol does too.
Yep. They should. All hell breaks loose. What, right there, go, And thankfully they stopped him from that. But really, minus him, like everything else is just how no one's done anything about anything. So it's kind of.
And instantly, you knew it was going to happen. Instantly, they had to go and turn it political. Couldn't be like, oh, it's wrong. Children died. All you people are like, oh, it's political. People like them are the ones that get got in certain places.
We turn everything all political, really, because he came out within we couldn't even say a few sentences because, he barely, he sounded like he was dead giving the speech.
Right.
Sorry, guy, live.
Pathetic.
Yeah. And again, going after the gun. It's amazing. Again, there's over 400 million of them in the country.
Like I said before, it's funny when he had that conversation, he's talking about ghost guns. That gun sat on that table the whole time next to him during that whole entire speech, didn't shoot nobody.
It's a people problem. When someone goes to try to kill their grandmother and then does all that, that's a people problem. That's not good. The gun just happened to be there. And someone argued with me again. It's like England and stuff, Europe, they took the guns, but you realize people were like running across bridges, just stabbing the living bejesus out of all kinds of people, right? Like, and more people get killed by knives than rifles. More murders happen by knives over rifles.
It doesn't even take a gun. I mean, I guarantee I can have a much better effective rate with my fist than an average person can with a gun.
And by murder numbers, yes, you can. By multiples of almost 6, if I remember correctly. Like, yes.
As a matter of fact, I feel confident saying I am more dangerous with my fist than the average person holding a gun on the other side of me.
Yep.
Good luck, buddy. You better know what you're doing.
I guess that's the perfect go away point. Have a nice short one for you guys to listen to for a change. Yeah. A little over an hour. Not bad. Not the 2 hours we normally go. But again, there's a lot to talk about, but the Bills sucked. So there wasn't really a lot to talk about. It's not our fault that they suck. If you want them, I can send them. He can send them. We can all get them your way, but they absolutely suck. So
Another thing in regards to this school shooting, people say shit, but look, I get yelled at when I say something to people, not just anyone in particular, just in general. When I say to people, hey, why don't you pull your fucking head out of your phone? When I say it to people, I'm aware of what's going on around me all the time. I'm aware of how people change, who they are. I can tell when there's something up with my neighbors just by their demeanor.
Yeah, I can tell all those things.
And it's also, the school shooting is just another point with our government the way it is now, why my kids will never see the inside of a public school themselves as a student.
Again, the numbers keep going up, so there has to be something that's continuously turning people more violent and psychotic,
Because I can tell you right now, when I was in school, there's a kid that brought a gun to school, was going to shoot somebody. He didn't make it to the class he had to get to because like 7 or 8 students approached him, and then another student at the same time simultaneously went and got the principal and said, hey, there's a gun, while the other students were approaching the other kid. And when I was in school, that's how it was. We looked out after each other. We took care of each other. We watched each other. We policed each other. Sad part is that was only 20 some years ago. Our countries went to hell in a handbasket.
Yeah, and everyone wasn't all turned up then. Yeah, this is the climate we live in, because no matter what, everything just has to be divisive hate. That we need to hate this people because they're Nazis, or because they're that, or they're
Why can't we hate stupid people? Why can't that be the division in our country?
We got rid of
stupid. Why don't you want to hate something? Hate stupid.
We got rid of all the stupid. It would be a much better place. Way better. If only we could get rid of stupid people. But that I'm saying we're jumping off there. Ended on a, God bless stupid people. You're the one driving us all nuts.
And Greg Abbott has a speech at 1.
There we go. So everyone, if you can, if this is uploaded by, this better be uploaded by then. If you hear this one, make sure you check it out. It should be, at least it'll be an update and we'll know more, because I only heard
It'll
one.
probably be on 3 of the 5 main news channels.
I only heard one, like one of his speeches yesterday, but again, I didn't even find out about, I turned everything off and was in.
Well, the second one, I think most people were probably asleep. The first one was literally at like 5 something.
Yeah, I was typing all this up at that point, and at mock Jesus reading things. So I think Dog the Bounty Hunter, I turned it on in the background just for noise and to keep Daisy from losing her mind. So I'll let you go. But we'll be back again next Wednesday. I'll be back tomorrow or Friday, hopefully. And we'll be back for the racing show on Friday as well, so we can talk about something that hopefully doesn't suck, because last weekend really just sucked. So be good to each other. Follow along, everyone on Good Pods. We appreciate you. The show is on. I got the Twitter page up now finally for the show itself at Jay Rosinski Show, because heaven forbid communist bastards. But they can only be this long. Well, what if I need it to be this long? Nope, only that long. Well, thank you. But it's on there too. Videos will be on the Facebook page because Walter's on here with me. They're also on YouTube, Rumble, and Cloud Hub.
As Walter always says, be a good human.
Yep, be a good human. Share everything out. Follow along on the pages, but really share it out. Be good humans. Be good to each other. Look out for all kinds of stuff. Call out stupid, but have facts when you do it. Thank you, Don Fry. And until next time, my friends, peace.
Peace.